Hello everyone, this is Class A Carrie. How are you doing? Today I'm going to remove the RV ice maker. Stay tuned. The first step in removing the RV ice maker is to remove all the screws bordering around where the ice maker attaches to the cabinet it's in. I was able to remove 3 screws that were basically on the 4 corners of this, with the exception of this one down here. There was no screw in the spot. It probably fell out years ago. Now that I've loosened those screws, let's see if it's loose enough to move. Indeed it is. I'll go ahead and pull the ice maker out from the cabinet. I've wiggled the ice making machine out of the cupboard all the way till it stretches, of course keeping in mind, as you can see inside of there's going to be 2 hookups. The first one you see here stretched pretty taut is the water hookup, of course, because in order for this ice maker to make ice, it needs a supply of water to freeze. And that comes into the back. And of course, you can see the AC power cord. I already had that unplugged, and there's still plenty of room left in there. So since this cord, our line is stretched nice and tight, it's about the furthest I can wiggle it out without ruining it. We'll go over here to the front. And right here is where that water line starts from. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect that so we no longer have the line preventing us from taking the ice maker out. Right here, this connector is where the water line is hooked up, and I'm going to go ahead and use this pliers and loosen it. Now that the fitting is loosened, the line is no longer holding back the ice maker. I can take it all the way out. You can see I've pulled out the ice maker some more away from the cabinet because the line has a lot more slack. However, as you notice here, the entry hole for the line that goes to the ice maker is not big enough to take out the entire connector with the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this line, because this line is replaceable, and that way the connection can stay in there, and then whoever uses this next can just attach new line. I have cut the ice making water line, so now the rest of the line will go back down underneath the floor, and when I reach that part of the remodel, I can go ahead and remove it then. Now, I just need to loosen those screws around that, I don't know what you would call it, if it were softer, I call it a grommet, but that fixture there that's keeping the AC plug from moving back into the cabinet. I'm going to go ahead and unloosen those screws, and then we can take the AC cord all the way out, and then this ice maker is removed. The ice maker is now completely removed from the ice making cabinet. I'm now going to clean up the inside of the cabinet there to the floor and start to dismantle the cabinet. Now that the floor is much cleaner than what it was, the basic steps to removing RV cabinetry, it looks like it's going to pretty much be the same as when I removed some of the other cabinets in the kitchen there. The cabinets all pretty much attached together by staples and glue. I can remove a few of these Phillips screws here on both sides there on the floor, where they're anchoring it to the floor. Maybe on the studs going upright. But other than that, I'm going to call upon Super Crowbar to do the majority of the work. Here's a shot of the tip of my Phillips screwdriver head. Yeah, that's rust. That's how rusty in particular that screw and that screw was. So after all these years, it's overall a good thing if I'm going to rehab this motorhome and still find it useful to get rid of the worn and rusted out parts. Here is one of the back braces of the ice making cabinet. You noticed how rusty that was. That was in this spot down here. Right there, that hole. Right underneath where it's obvious there's been a long time water leak. No surprise that hardware's been rusted through. There is the area with the ice maker and the ice making cabinet removed. Add a little bit of space between the co-pilot's chair and the door. There is the cabinet next to the ice maker. Once I had most of the floor screws undone, not all, but most, and then one of them up here attaching it to the wall, just take a few tugs and it came out free.